competing with myself, because if I really take the time to think about all the other books and writers that are out here, like, you literally wouldn't get out of bed. You would be so defeated.
So,
You understand what I'm saying?
I do completely. So let me rephrase what I said. So let me rephrase it.
No, but if that's your truth and you can handle that, kudos to you. But I couldn't think, that would depress me so much to think I'm competing with Disney with my book, with my independent book.
Well, let me put it this way. I don't think I'm not changing my point. I need to make it clearer. So let's do it that way. So when I say that, what I mean is I want to make sure that my quality of my book can be looked at on the same level as a Disney, because I don't want people to see me as lesser. Now, my personality type, I will compete against Disney because I think I'm better than them. But that's just me.
That's not my person. Then that's your personality. Yeah. That's not my personality.
Yeah, it's one of the things where, and my wife is funny because she said, I met you after you conceded. That's what I thought. I was like, no. I said, because I know I'm not the best out there ever. What I do know is if I research you and I figure out what you're best at, and I can match your best and then add my own flavor onto it, then I know I can beat you.
And you'll be unstoppable.
Right.
That's a very good, that's a good idea to have. I appreciate that. Yeah, but do you have a copy of CJ with you that you can hold up? Do you have?
I sure do.
Yes. Okay. Can you kind of walk us through, you don't have to read, of course, the whole book, but can you just walk us through CJ, your inspiration? What is CJ's adventures and story? What does it do, that idea do for kids? How have you seen the connection made with your young readers and in the community? Very
good question. So Super CJ is the strongest boy in the world. When he's angry, he loses his powers. And he must calm down to get him back. Wow. So the general concept is we want kids to make better decisions, and by calming down and not making decisions in anger. So CJ is, the way the story goes, is CJ is a regular 12-year-old boy. You meet him, actually the story starts off with him falling out the sky first. He's falling out the sky, he's trying to figure out what's going on, and then it cuts to 2 days earlier. And CJ is a champion person. He's a person who doesn't like people getting picked on. He wants to help out the elderly. He wants to do right by people. So he sees this kid getting picked on, and he tells the bullies to stop. And they say some things to him he didn't like, and so he punches one in the face.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
So then he ends up in the principal's office.
Okay.
And the principal is frustrated because she's like, "What has happened to you? Because over the last 6 months, you've just been different. Your scores put you at genius level, so you're definitely not stupid. So why are you getting into these fights, whatever?" He's like, I don't know. She said, "Well, I'm going to suspend you." And CJ got one of those black moms. So she like suspended. We don't do suspension.
Code word doesn't play.
No, it doesn't play. And based on my mom. So that's why I use that thought process. Because that's another thing I love about black moms. So professional. But when that door closed and you've been acting up, it's a different story. It's a different story, but it's a needed story. So CJ gets suspended. At that point in time, he runs to a group called the Elders. Mm. The Elders are people, which I haven't really said in the story just yet. They're from another planet. But they give him powers. And he's confused why they want to give him powers. Because he's like, I was suspended from school. So I don't know why you would give me powers. And they said, we looked at your heart, not your actions. And he said, so we're going to put something in place to worry about that anger. But you're the right person because of your heart. And so, in a nutshell, we're trying to display the complexities of black boys in a lot of different ways, because if you look at how we're viewed when we're boys, a lot of times we are bad or good.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, so CJ's issue isn't that he's bad. His grandfather passed away 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And his grandfather was his best friend. And so he doesn't know how to process that loss. And so he's coming out in anger, which oftentimes kids do with loss. It comes out in anger. So throughout the series, when we do the animated series, we're going to take him through a process where people are going to figure out that he's been traumatized through this death. He's going to seek out therapy. One of the goals of the show is to remove the stigma of mental health, and then also normalize going to therapy. So throughout, and the show is layered in a lot of different ways. So,
and you're speaking, when you say show, yeah, but not to cut you
Sure.
off, these are your episodes that you have on your YouTube channel,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Which is Just Like Me TV for folks that are watching. I'll put that in the chat here as you're talking.
Thank you. So, yes, you're correct. It's Just Like Me TV, Super CJ. And as we go through the series, we want to do several things with the series. One, obviously display Black boys in a different light. And then at the same time, make it fun for parents. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to Rex or hear Rex on the show, Rex is the dog who now is getting the power to talk. He has a lot of things to say, and he's funny. So as we write the series, we write on two levels. One level for the kid and one level for the parents. A lot like what Pixar does, where there's an entertainment for the adults as well. And we're very excited about the potential of it because what we've heard from parents already is a lesson. They're getting a lesson. I've had several parents email me already saying, thank you for writing this book because my son was struggling with anger issues. And we've been using CJ as an example about calming down and making the right decision. And so that has been great to hear because that was a goal when I wrote it was not only I want to be entertaining, but I want to be a tool for parents to say, hey, look, you're struggling over here a little bit, but let's follow CJ over here. What would CJ do? And that can be a bridge. I've also noticed with all my books, it creates a chance to talk to your kids differently. And if you have, my kids are 15 and 11, right? And so if you're trying to talk about your emotions, they are like, I'm fine, I'm good, yes, I'm fine. There is a lot of back and forth. You're right.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so you have to, what the books do, they allow the character to be the focus. And what I've noticed with kids is whatever they're talking about in the character, they're really talking about themselves. And so you get a chance to talk about the character, but you're really discussing what they're going through. And so now it's a non-threatening conversation where you can have open dialogue, give solutions, and kind of get an idea where they are. So that's the part I'm most proud about for these books.
That's wonderful. Now, do you have, not to put you on the spot, Yaba, but would you like to read a 1-2 minute excerpt from your book and kind of show it to our audience again? Before we do close out today, however, I am going to ask you to give us all the details to how we can purchase your book and how we can follow you also.
Well, I don't really read Super CJ because it's really dense from dialogue standpoint. It's like, because it's actually a comic book, and I show it to you. You can see you can see the dialogue is like.
Got you.
Yeah. So it's not like a children's book per se.
It's not like a read aloud, like a straight read aloud. Okay.
A straight read aloud book. It's a lot of words.
The graphics and the artwork in there.
Yeah. So it's definitely.
It's beautiful though. That's plenty for children, young. Hey, even adults love to read books with the graphic aspect. I mean, it's visual, you know.
Now with Princess Briana, I did used to read those books out because it was more of a page, dialogue page type of book. What I found about the internet is when you start reading too many words, people start clicking off.
Start to like, oh boy, it's a read aloud.
Right, exactly. So I don't want to do that to your show where we start losing folks.
But some of us still love a good read aloud, a good, you know. That's true. I'm old school. I'm from the public school teaching academy.
Gotcha.
So we like a good read aloud. You know, I'll never forget when I was a kid. Going to the library was a special time, right? Where you could get and sit down, and the librarian at the school would have a book and read for the class. I used to love that time so much. Like, it was like a field trip to me, even though it was in the same building. It was right downstairs or down the hall. Just someone reading to me, it just feels like, you know, this is a lot of love and care for someone to sit and kind of just voice the words of a story, and you can just get the pictures in your mind and all of that. So I'm still very much, I guess, even as an adult and a podcaster, I love to hear authors reading their work. But I totally understand with you having the animated series, you're already giving people a lot with visual and with voicing the characters. Now, in terms of your animation, who does voice your character CJ on the YouTube? Is that you? or
it's not me.
oh,
There's a brother named Ari. Ari is a young brother who just graduated from Morehouse, by the way.
okay.
And so he did the voiceover for us there. We have probably five actors that we hired to do the voices.
Oh,
and so
you have probably
one guy
actors.
did four.
Okay.
Yeah, so we actually did a production. We hired the actors. We hired an animation company. We hired a sound guy to make sure the sound was good. So we really did a animation type of production. So we are ready to do the next 10 episodes when we raise this money to do so. So to get to where you can buy the book from, you can go on Amazon. Obviously, put my name in, Yaba Baker, Yaba Baker.
And I'll put
you can
this
go
in the chat as well. And I do want you to know,
Okay.
Our audience member, Miss Crawley, has been begging to send her to your YouTube channel. Do you have any?
I don't.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I'll tell you, that would be the compromise. I will put myself on there reading. So you can hear some read aloud there.
If you do that, share the link with me, and some way I can, even if you put it also in a story, I can share it or share it with some of the folks that are here in the DM. That way, you know, we get to put the voice with the story and all of that, you know.
And just so you know, it's one of the things where I like to be really prepared to do things like that, because I want to do the voice changes and the action and all that good stuff. So we'll do something for you, and we'll give you a link to that. So definitely on Amazon, you can go to shopjustlikemeworld.com, which is our main website. So shopjustlikemeworld.com, and then Just Like Me World, pretty much on all social media is where we're at too. So at Just Like Me World.
Just Like Me World. And how about you here on Instagram, Yaba? What's the best way to follow you?
Well, you can follow us two ways. You can follow us at Just Like Me World, or you can follow me at Yaba _Baker.
Okay. All right, that is amazing. And one more time on your main website. Your main website is what?
Shopjustlikemeworld.com.
Okay. Likemeworld.com.
So essentially, the shop and Just Like Me World. Yeah.
Okay. Got you. Wow. I really enjoy talking. I think you got me to talk a lot, and usually I felt like it was such a good conversation. Oh wow. Small Town Animation says Super CJIP is amazing.
They did.
Thank you for that.
They did our animation for it. They are that brother Jermaine. Let me tell you about that brother real quick. If you still listening, Jermaine, you're an amazing brother, because he actually saved our production. Because animation really costs around $10,000 per minute. Right?
Wow.
Super CJ is 21 minutes long. So it costs us $210,000 just to do the animation. I only got $100,000 to do the whole thing.
Whoa.
So I met with Jermaine. He was like, "What you doing?" He said, "I like what you're doing. I can see that you're trying to do something positive. Let me help you out." And because he did that, we were allowed to do this. Wow. And so that brother will forever be thankful to him and appreciate his staff did a great job with the animation.
Look at that.
So you just say
the network works. It's not always all about the money and the pennies. And I mean, sometimes it's energy, it's intention, it's motivation, it's commitment, it's love. I mean, you know, wow.
So if you got an animated project, please talk to Small Town Animations. They do great work. He will work with you. Now, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, he's not in the deal making process. So don't go in and talk about, hey, give me the same deal that Yaba got.
Nobody go to him and say, I want the Yaba Baker package.
No, don't do that.
Sometimes but you know, relationships. I mean, we would not do that at all.
Yeah. So the thing about Small Town Animation is that we're gonna use them going forward. So as the money continues to come in, by the way, it's also Black owned. So that's one of the bigger things. So it's Black owned. He's also doing great work. And the last time I say about them, they're doing great work about diabetes. So he has a movie coming out, animated movie dealing with diabetes. So check that out. Go to Small Time Animations. They're great people.
And we here recognizing Black History Month. It's an appropriate time to discuss
Yes.
Black creators, Black-owned businesses, Black books, Black children's books, all of that. Black podcaster. Hey, I'm repping one of my T-shirts.
That's right.
So Yaba, this has been fantastic. It sounds like you have a wonderful network. You're working with some creatives that you really respect and enjoy,
Yes.
and they respect and enjoy you. That's beautiful. Some people spend years trying to find a team and all the people to pull together to make their dream, come to life. And so this is so inspiring to hear.
Thank you. And I know we got to end out. It's one of those things where, again, I go back to God, because the way I got Jermaine, I found out about him, was from somebody else who referred me to him. Another Hamptonian. Shout out to Denise. Denise, she was my client. I was back when I was at New York Life. I used to be a financial planner at New York Life. She helped me with setting up the whole idea of this business and venture capitalists and all that kind of stuff. So she referred him, and I wasn't going to call him because what he was setting up was an animation online network. Not a network. He was looking at an app.
Oh,
he was doing an app, like a Netflix type for Black animation, right? And so I wasn't ready for that. So I was like, I want to call him. She said, "Boy, you better call him." She's like, call him and find out. You never know.
Maybe you didn't want to do the app, but he has something else for you.
Yeah, that's the point.
Right?
He actually had an animation studio. And
so he's giving the website here. Thank you.
Yeah, he was putting animationTV.tv. That's what it, yeah. Yes, that's right. Go to that and support it.
How do I get this?
Do. I do. It's different levels of consulting. I was having the $99, $299, and then I think almost $1,000, because what I give people is from A to Z how to win in this game, because it's a specific formula you have to work by to compete with the bigger companies. You got to figure out what your advantage is against them, because one thing is there's always a way to win. I'm a firm believer in there's always a hole somewhere or a chink in the armor somewhere that you can exploit for your advantage.
Right.
But you got to be willing to do the work to figure it out. And once you figure it out, you got to stand on it. And so yeah, so I do that consulting work, yes. And I know we got to go. But I loved it so much. It's great talking to you. I'm glad we did this.
Thank you so much, Yaba. I appreciate you. And again, this is Yaba Baker, author, scriptwriter. He is a business owner, creative, owner of the wonderful YouTube channel, Just Like Me TV. You all please check him out. Follow him here on Instagram and all the socials, and check out his book. I want to say Super Adventures of Super CJ.
The Adventures of Super CJ.
And Princess Briana.
Briana. There you go.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much, Yaba. I'm going to spend a few minutes just to talk about what's coming up on my podcast, but I appreciate you so much and wish you all the success, and that you're representing us so well. Black History Month and 365 days a year is always Black History.
Yes, it is. And thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome so much. Thank you so much. Okay, and I was just here with of Nerdacity. I hope that you'll tune in when I do audios as well as Instagram lives this season with authors and poets such as Nzadi Kita, who has a new book of poetry titled Migration Letters. And also we'll be talking with Dr. Courtney Thorson, who is the author of The Sisterhood, How a Network of Black Women Writers Changed American Culture. We have so many wonderful interviews coming up. I'll also be talking with award-winning poet and musician and co-founder of Cave Canem Foundation, Cornelius Eady. And who knows who else is going to come by and stop by to talk with us at Nerdacity Podcast. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you for joining me, and hope that you'll follow the podcast here and also follow me on Instagram at Dr. DuEwa Writes. Thank you.